Hello everyone, welcome to Music Talk Live number 50. Amazingly enough, we're up to 50 live streams and YouTube is doing something strange. I hope I'm on, but so it's good to see you all. Hello, please say hello in the chat room. And let me just run this little animation for you because I want to get it out of the way as quickly as possible, but I have been told that I should point that out. So check that out if you want to. And today is kind of a bit of a special stream because, as some of you know, we've been kind of working towards this and we've just hit 9,000 subscribers, which for a lot of people I think is basically nothing. But you know, for this channel it's always been pretty small, so 9,000 is pretty cool. Let me just move this a little bit on this side so I can read the chat room. And so anyway, thank you very much everyone who's subscribed to the channel and all of you who support it. I know there's a lot of you, and there's a lot of you who listen to my music and who watch the videos, and you know, they do donations, they do everything, so it's really much appreciated. And so anyway, thank you very much. I'm gonna get this out of the way because it seems wrong to boast about 9,000. Maybe when I get to 100,000, maybe I will be a bit more impressed with myself. But hello Alex. Congratulations on that sub thing. Oh yes, well you have a bunch. How many have you got? He's too humble, he won't say it. He probably has like 50,000 or something. So well, because he puts up such a great music too. And Alex, I listened to half of your record, but I want to do it all over again today. So I'm going to listen to the whole thing beginning to end because I was going to last night, but then I got derailed a bit and I couldn't finish it. And I really want to listen to it, you know, beginning to end. So that's what I will do. And today we're going to look at one of the licks from the 21 Licks book. If you don't have it, because then we'll talk about some other stuff before that, make sure you download it. Okay, here it is. It's not an ad because it's 100% free. I don't even know, you know, people who downloads it and how many people do. But if you want to, then let me know. Please feel free. You know, it will be very much appreciated. But if you don't have it yet, just look at the description of the video. There's a link. And you can go there and download it from Google Drive. So no emails or anything. And today we're going to look at a third lick, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So if you want to check it out, there's a link down there. If it doesn't work for you, copy and paste it. And, you know, and it will work. Most people say that if it doesn't work right away, just copy and paste it onto your browser. Did I get another UA aux? No. It's the same one. It's just a box. I got a bunch of pedals in it, which eventually I will kind of have to announce these changes that are coming, and slowly I think you'll see the studio kind of being dismantled. But I will just say for now that I'll be moving. I won't say exactly where. I just want to make sure everything is tied up 100% before I say it. But there will be some, I will be moving. So the studio will come with me, of course, and I have to kind of move stuff around and pack some stuff up. And then it will actually be moved in several different times. So I don't know, but no, it's not another aux. No, I probably don't want another aux. You know, one is enough for what I do, but it's a cool machine though, 100%. I do suggest people check it out when they ask me, what should I use for my amps? You know, it's really cool. So that's the UAD aux, for those of you who are not in the know. And I was thinking maybe today, because we hit 9,000, I will have a little something during the week. I will post maybe a YouTube post on the channel, and there will be a little giveaway. And because there's so few people here on this channel now, if you just say something on the poll, I don't know if it's going to be a poll or if it's going to be just a little question, just so that I know who's leaving the comments, because I want this to be mainly for you guys and not for anybody who subscribed. You know, anybody who subscribed and follows the channel and the comings and goings, then I would like them to receive maybe the giveaway, which will be one online lesson free. I will give out one free online lesson with me, so we'll get on Skype or we'll get on FaceTime or WhatsApp video, whatever it is you want to use, unless it's something very obscure, because I'm kind of not of a tech guy, but something simple. We'll log on and I'll give you one online lesson, all right? So that's my little giveaway for 9,000. I was going to do it for 10,000, but then, you know, I had to be realistic about the numbers, and it's going to be a long time before we get to 10,000, unless you guys all en masse decide to subscribe. But anyway, so that's the thing. So maybe should I play a song for you? I haven't played a song for you in a long time. Actually, I haven't played songs in a long time. I've been recording, actually, but not performing. So do you guys want to hear a song? Let me know in the chat. If you say no, that's fine, because then I won't be nervous. But I was thinking maybe I should play a little something just to celebrate the 9000 and to keep my chops, you know, because playing live is different than just playing. So it would be good for me too. Sure, says Alex. Well, Alex, it's going to be a song you know quite well, actually. And I am actually a bit more shy now because after what you've done with my song, then I'm kind of having second thoughts about it. But Girasol Tostado, play. Yes, sir. Okay, so I have an order here directly from Girasol Tostado that says play. Play, and that's it. All right, I will play. I will do it. So anyway, here's a song for you. All right, could you hear it all right? Man, it sucks playing like this. I have no idea what you guys are hearing, but hopefully it came out all right. The volumes and everything. It's always a bit of a mystery when I do live streams, but anyway, this keeps the fingers going and the mind tuned to the live performance thing. All right, so I suggest you guys, if you guys are bored on a weekend, you go online and play your songs live. That will get you an adrenaline rush, and it will be very good for your musicianship. But it's bad for the heart, because you get all, you know, the first two bars are like, why am I doing this? You know, people are just as happy seeing you talk. Why are you playing? But anyway, that's a thing, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll do more. It was just something, I came into the studio today, you know what, I should probably put myself on the line here, because people are subscribing, they're watching the streams on Saturdays, and so you should be doing something a bit risky. So anyway, I hope you liked it. The song is called, and if you look at the 21 licks little tab book, there's the first lick is from the song, the intro, and we looked at that a few weeks ago. So you can check it out on a previous stream. But anyway, let's begin maybe with, there's no big news today as far as music, I think. I haven't been in the loop actually this week. And did you guys get the Moog apps, the free applications? I hope you did. Those of you who have a Mac or an iPad or an iPhone, because I think they're up to their usual price now. So it was a great sale, or a great gift actually, because they were free. So if, just in case you missed it, all the Moog Music apps are free. Well, were free last week. I don't know how long that goes, but check it out. Jump on it right now. Maybe you're lucky. Okay, so let's look at the third lick from the book. And my head goes again, but wait, let me actually back up a little bit. So the song is called Upside Up, and it's a song from the album Mystic Electric. And by all means, feel free to listen to all these records. They're down here. And it has a bit of a strange break, because it's a very rock and roll song, but it has this very peculiar interlude in the middle of it. And I did a video on this not too long ago, so I am sorry if you've watched that video. I might be repeating myself a little bit, but you know, I'll go a bit quicker. And the idea here is this: it's basically chords, but they're harmonized with arpeggios, right? Which is very simple, very, very easy stuff. They're very simple arpeggios, and they go like this. That's the lick, all right, more or less. No, I think actually that's it. And so I'm going to show you the tablature, and then you can follow along. But I suggest you watch it on your own PDF, because this is going to be a bit come and go. But anyway, the main thing here, which we can talk about, and then you can ask me questions, is if you look at the subdivisions here, it's all 16 notes, right? And I do apologize if you've already seen me talk about this, right? So I'll be quick. But you see there's a bunch of 16 notes, and that kind of goes on until the end of the little piece. And those 16 notes are then kind of divided into groups of three, because if you look at the tablature, the 850 there, or you can just look at the score above, the standard notation, you see these little groups of three notes that move along this way. And they go down on this side, and then they go up, wait, there, they go up on that side, right? So they go like this, and then they go like this. And that's kind of the trick, because if I play it to you just like with no time behind it, you'll kind of hear them as triplets. You'll hear 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Have you guys watched the How to Count Rhythms? That's a video that came out on the channel just a few weeks ago. So make sure you check that out. But basically, I go like, you can hear this: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, right? But it's not how it is. What I'm doing is actually playing over 16 notes: 1 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So with a beat, it will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of moving out of sync with the pulse. And this is a very simple rock and roll song. You know, it's very basic rock, blues rock kind of music. So you have certainly established a strong beat. And when that beat comes to the interlude, the tempo of the song is the same. I'm not speeding up, but I'm just creating this different rhythm and this interesting thing that really works. So your ear gets a bit bent by hearing this, and imposed over 4 notes instead of 3. Now, the other thing that happens is if you were to play 3 notes over a group of 3, then you'll naturally come to the end of a phrase. So if I do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I've done my 4 beats, my 1 measure, divided each beat into 3 equal parts. That's easy, and it will sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, whatever it is. It will keep going in 3s. But because I'm doing 3 over 4, it's kind of a poly-subdivision, if you want to call it something, then I will go out of sync, and it will take me a long time to sync back up. I don't have that amount of time, and so I have to sometimes twist it on its head. So let's look at the first line here, and I will play it for you very slowly. You can follow along, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, when I hit the 7 on the second measure, it comes from a 0-5, which is an ascending line. So I'm already starting the ascending line before the end of the bar. And so that's where the interest comes from. All right, so I'm going to play it for you just once, and then I'll shut up. This is the first 2 bars. Now, everything stays pretty simple. I can't see what I'm doing, but hopefully I know the song. Then I go up here, and I do kind of the same thing. So up to now is the same as always. I go this way, then I go that way. But then I want to do a little close-up of, or a little closure of the 4th measure, which is this one. And so instead of continuing, I do a little something here in the last 2 beats, and you can see that that's kind of a more rounded, or square, better said, way of doing it. You see, I'm playing tick, 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 tick over 2 beats. You actually hear the 2 beats, pam, 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 pam. I'm not messing up your ear with triplets. So check it out. I'm going to play it again. Let's see, from 10. All right. The A, yeah? Okay, go. So this little part, this part is actually very square, and it kind of creates a closure to the first 4 measures. So I'm going to play it again. First 4 measures, you'll see how everything is kind of out of sync until we get to this measure here, the 4th. Ready? Okay, so the first 2 measures, the last 2 measures are like, the last 2 beats, sorry, of the 4th measure are like, okay, this is it, end of the section. For the second section, which is another 4 bars, I kind of start the same way, but then I break it up. And the open string that's always been a B now becomes an E, so it adds a bit of variety to the thing, and the phrasing is different, and I think it's pretty cool, and it goes like this. Where are we? Yeah. Okay. And don't be scared with this. This is a pretty hard to play actually if you are not careful. So here's my advice: do alternate picking, and then in this part here, this is going to be where you're going to have the most trouble if you want to play this little piece. This is the difficult part. Do a little roll on the 7. Do a good roll, right? We don't want to play the whole song very precise and then get here and go like, do this, right? You want to keep that sound. So do a good roll and use alternate picking. Okay, and you get this sound, and it works very well, and it will kind of go unnoticed, which is kind of what I wanted with this little section, because I don't, I want this whole interlude to be one big statement. I don't want you to be distracted by different techniques or different sound. I will have to use different techniques, but I don't want you to hear it, all right? I don't want to impose it on you. So let me just play these 2 bars. Oh, did I screw up? Wait, one more. Yeah, sometimes you have to look at the guitar, not at the screen. But anyway, here's the section, and then now you can hear how the harmony behind it is really pulling towards a resolution. Yeah, you can hear how it's kind of taking you somewhere. And here's what it's going to sound like. Now we move up to the first string, and we're focusing on the E because the solo that's coming is in A. Okay, so eventually I want to start the cadence to the A. And the cadence to the A, of course, will be exemplified by the E, which is the 5, so it will be something like this. Basically a harmonic minor resolution. So it's about time now that we're here that I start introducing the E, not as the root, which is how we started, but start coming to the E as a cadence. So I'm going from A minor to E sus4, E major, and resolution. So the whole thing would harmonically would sound like this. Okay, so the A minor is now introduced for the first time, which is what I want to do because the solo then is very rock and roll. I have to go back to the rock song, and so I eventually have to go back to something that's pentatonic or kind of pentatonic. And so that's why I'm kind of getting into the A minor already, because I don't want to kind of jump into it without any, any warning, so to speak. I do want to introduce the new key a bit earlier. I don't want to, otherwise the risk is that it will sound kind of pasted on top of a song, and it's already quite different from the song. So you do want to kind of, blend it in. You don't want to impose it too much. Okay, so the song starts in E. I mean, the whole song is in E. It's very rock and roll, pentatonic. But then when I get to the break, it's in E minor. But eventually, I want to build it up to E major from E minor because I want to carry you to A minor, right? So this is what I'm doing now. The last two measures, I'm introducing A minor. But to keep things interesting, I'm splitting up the measures unevenly, and so what I do is this. Okay, so it's, you never know when it will fall. I don't want to do a square thing. That's boring, right? So I'm spreading it out. There's about 3, 5 plus 2, but it doesn't really matter, but it's like this. There. That's the end. And so all together, all these things keep the interest coming. Also notice how at the end of the piece here, I don't do those little breaks that reset the unevenness, right? Because remember, we're playing 3 notes over groups of 4, and I let it run. I don't reset it because if you remember on measure 4, I was resetting it here. I'm moving the mouse as if you were seeing it. You're not seeing it. So here's my finger. See, here's I'm resetting it, and there's a little bit of a reset also on this section here, right? Because then it becomes a bit more square. But yeah, so that's the idea. And you can check it out on the Mystic Electric album. It's called Upside Up. Don't worry, if the song starts and you're like, this is the wrong song, it's actually the right song. It's a very rock and roll song that then has this interlude. Should I play very slow for you? I don't know if I can play slowly because I haven't practiced it, but anyway. That's a full thing. You can then rewind. The people say rewind anymore. Look at it back again. Rewind is easier. Just rewind this section, and you can watch it over the tablature. The good thing about YouTube is you can play half speed. All right. So that's it. I think I played enough for you today. I've done a song and a little lick, but hopefully you can play. To practice it, what I would suggest, start thinking about your questions actually now, because then we won't have the awkward pause of me waiting for a question. So please write something down in the chat room. But maybe a few things you can take away from this lick is the that idea of not being too strict with the perceived rhythm of a song or of a composition, because this composition is strictly in 16 notes. And if you want that kind of feel, kind of a classically thing, then you do probably want to respect it. But then you can find other avenues to add interest. And in this case, it was just breaking up the groups of 4 by imposing on top of the 4 another kind of phrase. It's not difficult at all. The only thing that's difficult, like I played it the last time, and actually feeling the true rhythm, because the melodic rhythm will kind of carry you with him or with it. It's the melodic rhythm is very strong. So if I play without saying anything, you'll hear triplets, and that's something that's it's a pain in the ass if you're making this kind of video, because you have to remember where is the 1 and the 4. But if you're playing, for people in a song, then it's great, because you know that it's a powerful device, because you can use it. You can use this device, and you can trust that as long as you play correctly with the right emphasis on certain notes, the audience will hear something that's unusual for them. And usually unusual is interesting. Not always, but if it's something that is easy to listen to like this, then I can go, you see, I can use, this is a very easy to listen to thing. It's basic chords, it's very simple. And that kind of frees me up to introduce strangeness in another way. Right, so I say, okay, let me give you something very easy to listen to, but then let me play with the rhythm. Probably if I were doing something extremely strange melodically, I would probably do the opposite. I would probably start with a very easy to relate to rhythm, and then maybe expand later. Usually I like to say as much as possible with as little as possible, kind of like playing golf. The fewer hits, the better. And that's how I look at it. So if I can save stuff for later, I do usually in songs. And sometimes I don't even need to save it for later. I just keep the song simple. And the song I just played is a very simple song. And it has very simple devices to maintain the interest. As a matter of fact, the solo of the song is in E minor, and the whole song is actually in E major. That's a pretty stark contrast. But I mean, theoretically is nothing as easy as that. You say, okay, E major, E minor, that's it. That's all you have to worry about. As far as putting that into a song, then it has a certain amount of difficulties, because a song, it's easy to take a song into many directions, but then reverting back and returning to your original place, if your song does that, then it can be problematic. I've done it with many songs that I have, I say, oh, this is great, now I go there, and now I go there, but then eventually I'm in a key that's so far away from the beginning that I have to figure out a way to do it. And that's why we talked about modulations and changes and everything. Let me just, while I wait for your questions that are not coming, I will show you what I mean with the song. The song 1 is it's in E minor, E major. And that's what I play with the melody. Right? And the intro, it's all played over that progression. And then that's the chorus, which is in C sharp minor, which really is E major again, it's the same key. So after that, what I do is jump to E minor. And it's a very simple thing, like a child could understand it, right? C major, C minor, it's easy. But once you're in E minor, then you have to figure out a way to not properly, but elegantly at least, that's what I like, going back to the song in E major, because this song is a very simple, popular song, right? And so I don't want a strange structure, I don't want 300 bridges, there's nothing actually in this song. There's a little bridge after the solo and that's it. And so I want to go back to E, and I want to do it without you really noticing. I don't want to go like, hey, look, all the stuff I know, let me show you how I do it. That's to me, it's really not proper. And I don't think in any song, but least of all in a song like this, very melodic and very straight. When this is done, you can go back to the beginning, look at, listen to the song, and you'll notice when I go to minor, it's a powerful impact thing, but it has to be done carefully. All right, so usually it's a matter of balancing, to me at least, and it doesn't have to be for you, but you're here, so I'll tell you what I think. To me, it's always a balance between doing very interesting stuff, but at the same time very, I want to say elegant, but not because I think my music is elegant, but the way I do the music, I try to be. I try to be an elegant way of doing it. And usually to me, that means taking stuff out all the time. Again, like playing golf. I don't play golf, but really, that's how much you can do with as little as possible. And that's what I try to do. If I can hit it with one strike, I will. That's the thing. If I need two, then I'll use two. If I need three or four or five, then I'll be wondering if there's a better option out there. And that usually covers everything. The amount of notes in a melody. A lot of times I start with a lot of notes, and then because I'm searching, and then I reduce to the minimum. I have songs that the melody is like 2 notes. So if I can do it with 2 notes, I will. And if I need 3, then I'll add a third. But usually I have a melody or something or an idea, and I take stuff out and until it's at the simplest form, which sometimes it's easy to play, sometimes it's really hard to play. It doesn't matter. Sometimes complex things are easier to play. So that's what I try to do. And the same thing happens with rhythms. How much effort do I want to put in a rhythm? Well, just the amount that's necessary. Not because I'm lazy, but because anytime a smart or a clever rhythm is discovered as clever, to me that's I don't like it. If I try to do something clever, I want to do it hidden. I don't want you to notice. Like, oh yeah, he knows how to do that, right? That just doesn't interest me. And so it's always a fine line, of how to do it. When I do need to use, really, fast technique or convoluted chord progressions, even when I do that, then I'm like, okay, so if I do need to do that, right? I have some songs that have very long chord progressions or chord progressions that are very simple, but on top of it they imply several keys. Then I would say, okay, well, if that's a necessity, so if I have to do it, then let's simplify other things, right? So maybe I will simplify the rhythm section, or it's just a matter of balancing things, and it works very well if you practice it. In the beginning, it's difficult because you'll try to simplify a bunch of stuff and realize that the song kind of runs away from you because you're kind of you're doing all these, you're using all these devices, technique and theory and all that. You're using them so consciously that it's like you're trying to hold on to the song, like you're tying the song up and kind of chaining it to the wall. And eventually, you start releasing that and the song will just run away on you. And so slowly what you want to do is kind of tame the song, and you go like, okay, I'm going to let you go now, stay here. And that's the cool thing about writing music. When you hit that, then it's really cool. And yeah, and you won't know you hit it. You will know just later, when you go and practice it to play live, then you go like, well, this song wasn't so bad. Actually, it was pretty cool. In the heat of the moment, I'm going for function, right? I want a functional song. I want something that works, and I want something that's impactful. But I don't appreciate, the music I make. You probably don't either. It's really hard to do that in the heat of the moment. So you just I'm very like functional. I go, okay, I need to finish this song, and I want this and this and this, and then eventually I go back and I listen to it, and I'm like, well, that was pretty clever, or that was pretty bad, or usually I try to stay positive, because if you start criticizing your work, you never end. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little talk about composition, and maybe it will come in useful for you sometime in the future. I don't know, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, but you will eventually say, oh, so that's what he meant. Keep it simple, but keeping it simple by itself doesn't work either. So it's really a balancing act. But anyway, did I ignore any of you? Sergio, hello Sergio, cool. And Alex. Alex is famous. People come here not to see me talk, they come here to meet Alex. and rightly so. But anyway, please, if you have any questions, let me know, and we'll, or anything. If you've seen any piece of gear lately you like, or you're having some problems with music, not personal problems. You do know I'm a psychologist though, so, but I will charge extra for that, to tell you're crazy. That's expensive. So what else can I talk about while I wait for your questions? Well, now that there's more of you in there, actually, there's quite a few in there and not many people in the chat room. Please do join the chat room, especially if you're new. Please let me know who you are and say hello, because that's really kind of why I'm doing this. I'm missing playing live. I miss it, and I don't know when it's coming back in the proper shape or form. So please do stop by, say hello, and introduce yourselves. And because you're here, you should definitely all go check out Alex's new album. He's Desafinados here in the chat room. Click on the channel and go check out his new record, because he's a great guitar player. Tasfa 10, hello. Can you elaborate a little bit on how to structure melodies? Wow. That is a great question and pretty complicated. But it's like, well, let's keep it simple, yeah? Let's talk about just two things that I think are very important and I keep in mind all the time. One of them is arc. And that actually, Tasfa, that applies. I'm sure it's not your name, but I'll call you Tasfa. It's fine for you. And arc really applies to, I like to think of it as a melodic thing I keep in mind, but also as a song, as a songwriting thing. Basically what I mean is that your melody and your song, but let's talk about melody. Your melody should have an arc, kind of like a story or a movie, right? That arc is your responsibility, is not the listener. That's one thing I find with a lot of people who are beginning to write songs. They kind of tend to impose that effort of relating to the melody to the listener, but really it's on you, because that's why we're listening to your music. So if I go and listen to Alex's record, I don't want to have to guess what it is. I just want to take it in, and it's his responsibility to do the melody he wants and to keep me interested if that's his thing. Some people do very strange experimental music and they don't want you to be interested. They want you to be uncomfortable, or they want you to be whatever it is. But it's on them, and it's on me if I make my songs. You know what I mean? So I have to be aware of the arc of the song. And that means that I have to understand where the song starts and where it will go and what happens in between. And I look at it basically as a little story. Not that I don't think of characters and names or anything, but I do feel, if I know where I'm going, and I don't want my character, which doesn't exist even in my head, but I don't want it to go like this and like this and like this and like this. So it goes from point A to B 4 times. I probably want him to go from A to, E, and then E doesn't sound so good for him. Maybe it's bad news, so maybe he should go that way a little bit towards point C, and then go like, well, this is almost there. But then instead of taking a left, he takes a right, and then he goes to F, and like, oh my God, I'm way off. So eventually works his way back to B. Now, how long it takes to go to B, how many troubles in his way he finds, that's, to me, that depends on the song. So I hope it's not a stupid example, but that's really kind of how I see it. And maintaining that arc, maintaining the interest, is just as if you read a story, you watch a movie, maintaining that interest is kind of the trick. And I find that when you have a very strong melody, then it's easy to expand that arc to a whole song. And so my suggestion, and I'll give you a few more tips on melodies, but because you talk about structure, my suggestion is whatever you start with, a song, it can be a riff, just a rhythm, it can be a melody, it can be a chord progression, whatever it is. As soon as you have that nucleus of interest, like maybe a riff or a melody, really work it out. You can try to work it out. It doesn't have to be definitive, but really work out a nice bass line, work out some chords, good harmony, maybe work out a little drum pattern. Try not to just go, okay, I'll do it later, because when you kind of mold a little section of your arc, it's a lot easier to then see what the character is doing. And again, I don't think of but I'm just saying it to relate to you. I don't think of a little character walking around, but usually. But when I have a clear idea of what's going on, then I know it's easier for me to envision the rest. And so one thing that I find that it works with students. Actually, I have an online student. He's from Sri Lanka, and he has some great melodies because he's exposed to really interesting music, and it just has a hard time. They kind of run away from him, and so I said, don't just worry about the whole song. Just if your melody, going back to the song I just played earlier. Now this melody, for example, is not such a big deal. The reason it works is because of the chords underneath and the bass underneath. Like everything is in synchronization. If you listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, you don't need anything else. You can just listen to the Mama. Ooh. That melody is beautiful by itself, and you'll notice how everything else underneath kind of disappears. All you hear is the melody. Other melodies, which are just as valid, they do require a bed on which to evolve. And so what I do is, if I have a good melody, I will just write everything for that section. Doesn't have to be final, but I will try to do the best I can. And then I have a clearer idea of where I'm at. And then structure of the melody, it's a lot easier, right? Because if I have a very strong melody, even short, I go like, well, what do I need to do now? The simplest thing, let me give you a couple of tips, is repeat it. Repeat it once, just the same as it is. And probably won't work, but you'll know why it won't work. You'll notice that maybe it doesn't end right. Because it doesn't end right, the repetition sounds like it's being pasted on it on top of the previous one. So maybe with just a little modification of the ending of your melody, then you will get kind of on a new lease on the next part of the melody. Then you'll get a bigger statement with just as much effort. It's not like we're trying to save ourselves for some effort, but elegance to me is a big thing. Other things you can do when you have a strong section, you go like, okay, well, what else could I play on this section? Because maybe your melody section is the same as your intro section, right? And so there's so many things. The thing is that I find very useful is to tell people to try to finish that statement in some kind of detail. Don't just go, I have a melody. Well, that's fine. You have a melody. We all have melodies, but the melodies that are enhanced and survive the treatment of a whole song, those are few. Not all your melodies will. I have some great melodies sometimes, and they don't get off my iPhone because they just can't handle everything else in the song, or at least I haven't found a way to do it. So they stay there, because even if they sound great, I just have no way of managing them later. 10 or 15 seconds is not a song, and so that's why I'm talking about structure of melodies. And some songs actually try to keep the thread from beginning to end, and sometimes I ignore it. But anyway, it's a long answer to a short question, so I do apologize. Is that what you were looking for? And any other question we'll answer. In the meantime, maybe should I plug something? I will plug something. You should, if you want, check out these books, because I keep getting emails about them, and anyway, these books will help you out with your technique, and I do. The reason I show them to you is because I do think they work. It's only 5 seconds, but if you're trying to improve your technique, these books or any good book will do. Just don't play whatever for 2 hours. That's another thing I see a lot of students do. I played 2 hours yesterday, which is great, but what did you do exactly? I don't remember. Do that long enough, and then you'll have wasted thousands of hours. So I suggest always you keep a bit of time every day to improve technique, ear training, theory, and then spend the other hour just playing. Sure, I expected you to talk a little bit about the use of themes and such. Yeah, but I think, everybody kind of knows that. I was kind of hoping to give you a little something a bit more, maybe not advanced, but a bit more what do you call it? Not secret either, I think, but something that is used, in actual songwriting and melodies. But yeah, theme, you can start with something simple, repetition, playing it backwards, alternating with other notes, using passing tones. But I think that's, that's a bit didactic, I think. And yeah, if you want me to talk about that, I can. But I think what I explained to you, if you try to work on it, it would be probably better advice than just themes and motifs and all that. But I will expand on that if you want. But really, truly, the arc of the thing is the most important thing. And one other thing actually I can talk about as far as melodies is it's very important for you those times that you're not starting from a melody, that you're actually starting from a chord progression. Unless you've written already about 100 songs, maybe something like that, so you're kind of an intermediate writer, because 100 songs is not much. So unless you are there, like you're comfortable with your songwriting, what I would do is usually, if you have a melody you think is good, keep going. I mean, save it by all means, but keep going, keep going, even if your progression is 4 chords, stay with those 4 chords for hours and hours and hours. If you can do it in a day, in 2 days, in a week, in a month, spend as much time as you can with those 4 chords, because that's where I find a lot of people improve so much. When they gain control of the chords, they're not trying to stick something on top of the chords. They're actually saying, you know what, these are my chords, I'm going to take full control of them, because I'm going to spend so many hours on them that I will start hearing how they sound before they play. I will start hearing the different layers of the chords. I won't hear just a big ball of A minor or E major at 9 or whatever it is. I will actually hear the different levels, because maybe I'm falling on one of those levels on my melody, and I will start hearing the dissonances. I will start hearing the consonance of certain notes. I will start hearing the lack of rhythm or the overuse of rhythm. And so that's what I would do. Many times I've found a melody that was good, but it wasn't great, and I never stop until I find something that I find is great. Maybe only me, only I think it's a great melody, but it's very important. That's all you got, right? That's yourself. But that's I think a useful piece of advice. Don't give up on a chord progression until you squeezed everything out of it. And the benefit goes well beyond that chord progression. It will improve pretty much everything you do with the guitar. So, yeah. All right. So you can't fault me for not talking enough, not answering your questions. But seriously, it's a problem I have. It's like, if you ask me a question, you know, people ask me a question and run. But anyway, that's why I hope it was useful. Rajiv Kunchwar. C, D, D sharp, F, G, G sharp, A sharp, C. Will like you to try this extempore. Do you want me to try that song? Let me just write it for you in a different way, which will help you, I think. Okay, so let me just do this. What you want to do usually is look at the scale like this. You ready? Yeah, so your scale looks like something that's very complex and very advanced. If you're watching this from the future, I'm answering in the chat room, right? So make sure you turn it on. So you say C, D, D sharp, F, G, G sharp, A sharp, C. Now, and you say, could you improvise? If I were to improvise on that, you would be surprised how common and regular it sounds. Right? Because it's C minor. Now the way you write it is C, D, D sharp, F, G, G sharp, A sharp, C. Sounds like a very complicated scales. It doesn't have all the degrees. All I've done is change the name of certain degrees to the regular name. So my scale is C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. It's C major, C minor. That's all it is. All right, Rajiv? So watch it when you do scales, chords, all that stuff, formulas. Make sure you have a little understanding of theory, just a little bit, and harmony. In this case, what you can take away is usually, not always, but usually try to have all the different syllables of a scale and try not repeating the same note, okay? So instead of writing C, D, D sharp, I understand it's because you're using a harmonica, that's fine. But at least in your mind, you know, as far as theory goes, try to, you know, turn it around and make it as simple as possible for you. Because if you look at what I write, then you say, wow, okay, it's the simplest scale of all after the major scale. And that happens a lot. Chords that are like, what is this chord? And all you have to do is just write it down in a different way. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, I just played a little bit of C minor for you. No, that is very useful. I usually do start with chord progressions, and sometimes the melodies I do on top of them feel forced. Yes, oh, that's a great point, Asfa. Actually, that's something that happens a lot. You know, you have a chord progression, you say, I'm going to write a song with this chord progression. And it's, you know, I read a few interviews of people saying that's not a valid way of doing it, that's for beginners, and it sounds like you paste your melody on top. You know what? A lot of great songs, you'll be surprised how they were written. They were written just like that. You have a cool idea, a cool chord progression, and you work on that melody. And there's nothing wrong with it. You know, usually what happens is you have a chord progression that is strong. You have a chord progression that is, by the way, Rajiv, if you have any other questions, feel free. If you have a strong chord progression, a strong riff, and then why are you going to give up that riff because somebody says that you have to write melodies first and riff second? That's stupid. So you write your chord progression, feel free, go ahead, write your chord progression, and as soon as you're happy with it, then you can start working on your melody. What I would suggest though is you be aware of the functions of your chord progression. So understand the fact that the chord progression has a home, usually your root chord, and then it has kind of a certain instability in the subdominant region, then it has a dominant region that is very much unstable and wants to go back to one. You know, that's important, and that will certainly inform your melodies. But other than that, you know, you're doing great. Just if they feel forced, probably is because you're kind of doing the kumbaya thing, like you're basically following the chord with your melodies, and that's yeah, anyway, that's Asavari Raga. Oh yes, I know, because I did study Indian classical music with a guru in well, many places, but in India, of course. And I was surprised, actually, Rajiv, I was surprised by how similar a lot of scales, a lot of, you know, the modes. We went through all the modes, and I was like, okay, I got it. And he's like, wow, you know a lot of Indian music. And I said, no, it's the same modes as in Western music. A lot of scales are the same. The notes, they have these strange names, which we talked about in a video on notes, actually, of how to call the rightly so, the notes. And it's really very similar. That is C minor, yes it is. But you really want to, Rajiv, have each note represented. So always make sure you have your 7 notes, if there are 7 notes. Sometimes there's 8 notes, and sometimes there are scales that do use the same name twice, but usually 90% of the time you can really make things easier for yourself if you give the proper name to each interval. And that usually means make sure you use all those 7 notes. You know, you shouldn't have 2 Ds and 2 Gs and an A sharp and no E and no B. That will screw you up, right? And you're like, what is this? But yes, it's C minor. Yeah. So Rajiv, where are you from? And Tasfa, I think I did see you before, right? But anyway, I will wait a little more if you have more questions. And again, thank you for getting to 9,000. Again, I know it's not a big deal on YouTube nowadays, but 9,000 is still pretty good. And so thank you very much, everyone who subscribes and follows. But mainly thanks to you guys, because I really don't care how many subscribers I have if no one watches this. And I know we don't have huge numbers, but still, people who are here on a Saturday trying to learn guitar, you know, that's something, you know. So thank you for that, more than for everything else. From Pune, yes. All right, cool. Yes, I do apologize if you guys are, you know, you've been here before. Sometimes I forget names because you'll be surprised how many there are actually through the months. But it's good to see you again. And some of you I know quite well because you're always here every week. But anyway, if I don't recognize me, you know, feel free to let me know. All right. So can I help you with anything else? Is there anything else we should be talking about? Make sure you, if you want, the songs we talked about today, they're all down here. Everything is down there. The reason why I start with chord progressions is because it allows me not to completely stick to the tonality scale. But otherwise, I wouldn't naturally step out. That's a good point. Do you want some advice? I will give it to you, even if you don't ask for it. No, what I would do that will help you is, that's common. It's a common thing. You know, you're like, I always tell my students, I said, if you don't know it, you won't use it. So it's important to study a lot of chords. It's important to study a lot of scales, not because you will, you know, you will make songs with these chords and these scales, but it's important because it will put the sound in your mind. And so when you want to use, for example, excuse me, if I want to play a major scale and then I hear this different sound, the major scale is a scale that has a very strong gravity pull, right? The major scale will kind of pull you in, and that's why it's so hard to escape from it, because everything you hear, your mind just wants to, you know, your mind wants it to be major because it's so easy to listen to. You're so attuned to it through many years of listening to it. You know, little children's songs, they're all basically major songs because it's so natural. And so it's hard to get away from it. And you won't get away from it until you're becoming just as comfortable with these sounds than with these, right? And to do that, you probably have to study chords and melodies and scales that you might not even actually want to use. Like I know a lot of chords, and a lot of them are from jazz, and I'm not really a jazz player. I do enjoy listening to jazz. Like Miles Davis is one of my Hello? Hello? Okay. I don't know. Wait 1 second. So now it works. Yeah? Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Please let me know if you're hearing me. Now it works. Yeah? Check 1, 2. Check all right. 1, 2. So I'm using the computer. It's gonna sound like crap. Okay. Please let me know if you're hearing me. Check 1, 2. Yeah? Check 1, 2. All right. So I'm using the computer. Yeah, it's very low because I have to use my computer. And check this out. Ready? Check 1, 2. You see that? It is working. I'm actually showing my setup is working. I don't know what's going on. It has to be something with YouTube. Good thing it happened now, at the end of the video. So maybe we should leave it like this and come back next week. And I have no idea what happened, but it probably is nothing to do with, I will check it, but I don't think it has to do with my end. I think it's something with the stream or with YouTube, because OBS is showing me regular volume. So can you guys hear me? I think it's pretty low. Let me see if I can maybe. Hello. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, we've been going for about an hour, so I think maybe it's a sign from above that we should stop, or I should stop talking. I want to thank you all for being here. And again, thank you for helping me reach 9,000 subscribers. If you want to spread the word about these videos and these hangouts, please do with your friends. And who knows, maybe we'll be more and more, and we can have more questions and more music talk and more gear. I did want to talk a little bit about gear today, but no time for that. So I hope I'm not talking to myself, but I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks again for being here. Check out Alex's record, because he's a great guitar player. And if anytime at all you make music and you want to release stuff, let me know and I'll be happy to give you a shout out. All right? At the least I can do. Thanks everyone who supports the channel. It's very much appreciated. You know who you are. And even if you don't, it's appreciated that you're here. But for those who do, it's really a good feeling to see that it's worth it for you. All right? So anyway, I'll see you next week. I don't even know if you guys are hearing me. So when technology goes wrong, it's better to give up and leave. So have a great one, and I will see you next Saturday. Check out on Tuesday, check out the new 1 chord a week. I don't know exactly which one it will be, but it will be probably interesting and worth your time. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.